Burn, baby, burn. What's up, folks? Got a little snow coming down. Pretty good. Where I live, you get a little bit of snow, like more than 2 inches. Everybody loses their freaking mind. I'm gonna shut this heater up. Alright. Another beautiful episode of Bear Business and BS. I'm screwing around in the shop today. Let's see. Last time we talked, I had working on a termite job. That one stopped. Termite company had their own contractors, and kind of like I was mentioning in that video, at least in my area, I have done work for termite contractors, but it may be this way everywhere. If you get into termite damage and they have a termite contract, you might want to stop, let the customer know about it, and have them contact whoever carries their termite insurance. Because in my area, a lot of those have a specific contractor that they want to use. Or if you go in there and replace everything, I believe most of them want to actually see it for themselves. I don't think pictures or videos will work in order to get it as claimed on your insurance. So if you run into termite damage, contact the customer, let them know about it, and have them get their termite insurance company out to look at it before you make any further repairs. So just FYI. Anyway, they have a contractor they use, so I didn't go any further with that one. To tell you the truth, I wasn't looking forward to that one anyway. Another one I'm working on. This one's a little different. It's we talked about last time. It is an older gentleman. His nephew is buying the house. I have done all the maintenance on this house for the last 7 or 8 years. And it's a beautiful home. Probably 4 bedrooms, 2 floors. It's all panel wood throughout the entire living room. It's beautiful. But his nephew is wanting me to redo all 4 bathrooms, total remodels on all 4, replace all the countertops, what else? Tile showers in 2 of the bathrooms, some little stuff, replacing a bunch of doors, refinishing some floors in it. The caveat to it is he closes on the house in 30 days. But in the meantime, he's wanting to do all this work to the house. And what he has done is he's got it approved with the bank. He's already asked the bank for an additional, let's put it this way, he's asked the bank for enough funds to do everything he's wanting to do in the remodel. But the funds won't get here until he closes on the house for the 30th. But he wants me to do all the work prior to him closing on the house, which is totally opposite of the way everybody usually does it. And I mentioned it to the homeowner because he even told me he has a lien on the house that he's been dealing with for 20 years. So I know from previous experience, it's sketchy to do anything like that until you've actually signed on the dotted line and went to the title company. The bank's telling you you're approved is only like step 1. The title company going through and making sure there's no liens, he's in a gated community. So I don't know what additional issues that brings to the table. But anyway, and a lot of the stuff that his nephew's wanting to do, he wouldn't do if he was keeping the house. So I was a little iffy about starting any of this work in the next 30 days because I'm probably going to have to wait for payment for the next 30 days unless the current owner of the house decides to pay me and then just get paid back when he signs on the dotted line and gets the house closed out. So I've never done one this way. I'm a little hesitant to do it to start with because there's a ton of crap that could go wrong at the closing table. He's had a lien note for 20 years that he's just now trying to settle, so I don't have any idea what kind of legal crap they could turn into, or that could turn into. So normally the way it works is you get your proof of the loan, buy the house. After you sign on the dotted line and you're the new owner of the house, then you get somebody like me to come in and do all the remodel work, not the other way around. So I haven't dealt with one that way. The other part of this is I'm working directly with his nephew, and his wife has an interior decorator that has come in and gave them ideas about how to do everything, but I have not communicated with his wife at all, just him directly. And I'm hesitant about that because I have been down that path before, where the man may be paying for it and making all the decisions. However, the woman of the house is the one who you actually have to please. So I'm a little worried that he's going to be asking for a bunch of stuff that she ain't going to like, and I'm going to get 3/4 of the way into it, and then I'm going to have to change and go back and do a bunch of rework. So several good pointers there. Make sure you have both husband and wife there. I mean, you may find out after talking to both of them together who's really running the show. It may end up being that he makes all the decisions, but I've been on the receiving end of that a couple times where she was really the one making the decisions and the one that you needed to please. That can be an absolute nightmare if you don't talk to them up front and find out. Get both couples to, the couple together and talk to them about what they want done. You'll find out real quick which one you really need to please. I mean, you technically need to please both of them. One may be writing the check and the other one may be the one that you got to please. But either way, you got to make sure that you've got some kind of agreement with both parties prior to starting the work. Because that can be... It's really not expensive because usually your scope of work is based off of the person who's signing the check majority of the time, not all the time. But get both parties to come to an agreement on what they want. Done some work in the shop. Got this little jewel I made a couple weekends ago. My little Thor mallet. Split maul, actually. I had a hickory handle I bought for this, and I bought this back when I was in 16 in high school. I replaced the handle 3 times. The one that I had in high school lasted me until probably 8 years ago, and I split it. I went to Home Depot and bought a brand new hickory handle, basically the same time, the same handle, brand and everything, and split it the first time I used it. So I decided I'm tired of replacing freaking handles, and I know what you're saying. Well, if you weren't an idiot and didn't miss the log, you wouldn't have split the handle, because usually it's because you miss and you hit the log right here on this part. But, I'm not perfect. It's going to happen. And I know the other part you're saying is this is a 1/8 inch steel tube. I will probably miss, and this is going to vibrate like crazy. I don't do a whole lot of log splitting anyway. Usually, I split a rick of wood, maybe 2 ricks of wood, and where I'm at, that will last me probably a couple years because we don't burn our fireplace a whole lot. I work too much, and my wife doesn't like to screw with it unless I'm home. So anyway, pretty nice. I put some textured up at this end where you put your hands, and then sprayed the whole thing silver. So it's a pretty heavy splitting maul now. Anyway, I got that remodel I'm working on. What else are we doing? Got 2 jobs. One I just finished yesterday where a dishwasher started to leak. Rotted the floor out. Luckily it was just underneath the dishwasher. It didn't go very far underneath the cabinets on either side. And it's the house built in the 70s or 80s, and back then they put like not even 7/16, like 1/4-inch plywood right on top of the rafters or the floor joist. Laid your walls, and then after that they would come in once they got the house in the dry and put that 3/4-inch pressboard crap. It just looks like wood chips that are glued together. Anybody that's ever messed with a house that age has messed with it. If it gets wet, it's a nightmare because it's like a sponge, and it'll just keep eating and eating and eating. When you demo it, it just comes up in chunks. When it's really wet, you can pull it up with your hands. It's a nightmare. I'm sure must have been I don't know why they did it back then. I guess maybe they didn't have any subfloor available to put on houses while it was in the dry. Because if you were to use that 3/4-inch stuff before it was in the dry, the first time it rained before you got it in the dry, it'd be useless. You'd have to start all over again. So I don't know. I'm sure some old timer can probably tell me why they did it that way. There must have been some reason. The price of wood right now is ridiculous. That floor job that I went and did, I went and bought a 2x6 by 10 because I didn't have any 2x6 by 8s, a 2x4 by 8, a 2x2 sheet of 1/4-inch, two pieces of 2 foot by 2 foot by 1/4-inch plywood to match what was in there before, and a 2 foot by 4 foot section of 3/4-inch plywood. Those items, which is basically altogether, that's a half sheet of plywood and 2 boards, was $75. Holy cow. So that 4x8 sheet of 3/4-inch was $28 before tax. Good Lord. The 2x4, this wasn't a stud, this was a 2x4 by 8, was $6, a little over $6. I think it was $6.19 or something before tax. That same board a year ago was like $280, $250, somewhere in there. So they're still building like crazy because prices of lumber are that high, and there's still times you go to the store and there's not a whole lot on the shelf. So it's getting better. It's not like it was summertime of 2020 in my area. There was nothing for treated lumber down any aisles. You may find some 4x4 by 10 foot post, no 4x4 by 8s, no 2x4 treated. Deck boards were almost non-existent. So it's getting better just because the price is so ridiculous that they're not building as fast as they were before. But the cost of lumber right now is ridiculous. I'd be careful with that. If you do estimates, make sure you tell your customers, even if it's good for 90 days, let them know right now that the price of lumber is changing. There's times I go in there. That same 2x4 a month ago was still around $3 or $4. So it went up that much in, about a month and a half. So keep that in mind. Most of my estimates are good for 90 days. But if you have the same policy, you might want to keep it in mind when you go to do a job or get a job that you bid on 9 months ago, that the price of lumber has went up since then. So anyway, I've got some honeydews I got to do today. It is Valentine's Day. I'm going to get back at it. Cheers. Y'all have a good one.